Hey everyone, this is Gale from PaulGaleNetwork.com, and thank you for joining me today for video game news. It is September 3rd, 2020, and these are the top stories of the day. To kick things off, I gotta show you this. This is from Laced Records. It's available now for pre-order at lacedrecords.com, and it is a full Street Fighter 3 soundtrack representing music from all three games. That's Street Fighter 3, Second Impact, and Third Strike, spread across 4 vinyl records. You got this beautiful artwork right here of some of the cast from Street Fighter 3, and it just looks great. It's shipping this November. It's available, like I said, for pre-order for $80. Here's another image. This is what you get. You've got different covers for each of the 4 Hadoken-looking discs, and there's a full breakdown, 72 tracks, giving you all the tunes from New Generation, Second Impact, and Third Strike. And definitely, if you want to have more information on this, including what exactly is on disc 1, side A, side B, and so forth, go ahead and check it out. That's lacedrecords.com. I'm going to be buying this because I love Street Fighter, I love art, and I love Street Fighter music, so it's perfect. That's why I'm wearing Shoryuken, my Street Fighter shirt today. This is actually the shirt that I got from E3 back in the day, which represents Tatsunoko versus Capcom. And yeah, that's a nice way to start off today's video game news, is a cool looking vinyl record from one of my favorite games of all time, being Street Fighter 3, particularly Third Strike, and one of my favorite franchises. Moving on, it is Thursday morning, which means it is another video game sales data report from Japan. As always, I am using Chris 1964's great breakdown of this Japanese data that comes out of Famitsu every week, courtesy of ResetEra.com, to look for a brief moment, since we won't spend, since I don't want to spend too much time on this segment every week. It's just a passion of mine, so that's why I like to discuss it. I'll try to make it brief. Kicking off, number 1 spot, we have The Legend of Heroes for PlayStation 4 at 83,000, followed by Ring Fit Adventure on Nintendo Switch at 53,000. You see, anytime that Nintendo makes this one available, if they stock it, it goes up. It just sells well. We got Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles released on 2 platforms, Nintendo Switch with 48,000 and PlayStation 4 at 30,000. Right in between, it's kind of weird seeing this. Animal Crossing hasn't really been kicked out of that top spot too many times, and here it is at number 4 at 34,000. But that's kind of to be expected when you've got a couple of new releases taking that top spot, and a few other releases down below, some of which are the same, but just kind of eating into consumers' pockets of what they want. Plus, at this point, the game's been purchased by a lot of people in Japan, so it's getting to that point where a good percentage of Japanese owners that have a Nintendo Switch, which is almost 15 million, have the game, over a third if you count digital. Looking down a little bit, we've got Captain Tsubasa, Rise of New Champions on Nintendo Switch. Jump Force making its way to Nintendo Switch with a respectable 15,000 units sold. That's not bad considering the game has been out for a while on the PlayStation 4 in particular in Japan, and for the rest of the world for that matter. It's been doing okay on Xbox One and PS4, but like I said, this is the Japanese sales charts if you're not already familiar. Then we have Captain Tsubasa, Rise of New Champions on PS4. It's interesting to see because these are a couple of games where the Nintendo Switch release for both this and Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles are seeing better results on Nintendo Switch. It's not always the case, but it is definitely good to pay attention to, particularly if you are a developer and you're looking at which platform to put your game on. Do you put it on PS4 or do you put it on Nintendo Switch? If the PS4 or Xbox One version of a game is your go-to in terms of, what you as a developer see as the baseline? Is it worth it to make a new baseline, scale down a little bit of visual fidelity, whatever you have to do to make a Nintendo Switch version work? Because a lot of games are actually doing quite well on Nintendo Switch, and this includes third-party ports of a lot of software. I will move myself slightly off to the side so that you can see some of the other results here. And you can see Jump Force. After that, Captain Tsubasa, as I mentioned. Ghost of Tsushima comes next at number 9 with 13,000. It's dropping off slowly, but it's hung in there quite a while, and props to Ghost of Tsushima, tongue-tied, because it's doing well, especially for a Western game, for a third-person single-player action title. Single-player for not too long, by the way, because as previously mentioned on Video Game News with PGN, this game is getting a free multiplayer update later this year. And finally, to round out the top 10, we've got Clubhouse Games 51 for Nintendo Switch at 12,000 units sold. I really came off screen there for a moment, didn't I? But that's a pretty good look at software sales. Nothing groundbreaking, but not bad, and a pretty even split of 6-4 for Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4, respectively. Moving into hardware, Nintendo Switch, this is where it just every week continues to dominate. It's no question. Whereas software, you might have a strong PlayStation 4 release that comes out, whether it's a third-party title also on Nintendo Switch, or an exclusive like Ghost of Tsushima or Final Fantasy VII Remake. So software, you can still see a spike in PS4, but on Nintendo Switch, there's no comparison. You're looking at 70,000 last week to 883 on PlayStation 4. This week, 78,000. It's actually gone up. And PlayStation 4 also up to 1,926. Other things are fairly neutral to where they were previously. Nintendo Switch, as you can see right there, it's almost at 15 million. It's 4,586 units shy of 15 million, which is very impressive before the holidays. That's the big deal here. And yeah, I'm stoked to see what this holiday lineup looks like, because if you tuned in earlier this morning, you know what Nintendo's got in store for us just mid-September, and that's going to carry us through to the holidays, and that is the big Super Mario 35th anniversary announcement, which includes Super Mario 3D All-Stars. But more on that later. Next up, I wanted to show something interesting for me, and this is Colors Live. Now, I'll show little bits of this trailer. This trailer actually came out May 13th. This was from a Kickstarter of theirs, but why I'm showing it today is because kind of like the limited run games package that arrived to me just several days ago of Streets of Rage 4, I happened to get this today, my own Colors Live unit. I love drawing. I love showing my kids how to draw, color. We used Art Academy a good amount on the Wii U, on the gamepad, and that was a fun title. And the Wii U still gets used for several reasons, but I really wanted to check this out and have the opportunity for all of us to
Hi, I'm Jens Anderson, the creator of Colors, and today
draw more.
I'm very excited to announce the Kickstarter for our new version of Colors. Ever since the release of the Nintendo Switch, we've had tons of requests to bring Colors to it. But to make it the best version, we had to find a way for you to use it with a pen. We will do this by bundling the game with our very own stylus. The next version of Colors is called Colors Live, and I'm very pleased to announce that it will support pressure sensitivity. The Colors Sonar pen is the key to this, and it makes the painting experience in Colors Live fantastic. I also want to talk about a brand new feature we're bringing to Colors Live. In Colors Live, we're adding a new game mode. where you make progress by
How do you like
creating
that?
a new painting each day in your own style. Come join us on Discord to keep up with development and support us by sharing the campaign with your friends. Thank you for your support.
Cool. So let me break down a little bit of what this is like. Here you see I have a couple of different tips and a very unique stylus pen. You could find out more information if you go to the Colors Live YouTube page, but to break it down briefly, this goes into the audio jack on the Nintendo Switch, and then that turns to life your stylus. And there's a very fine swivel right here, if I get in close, that reacts by sound and enables pressure sensitivity through your pen onto the Nintendo Switch screen. This plastic barrier here adds a protection so that you're not scratching, not carving up your screen. There's another little cap as a backup. You've got a little case that it came with. And I'm really excited to get this to use. There's instructions on how to connect it. I don't necessarily have to show that on camera. But if you are an artist, and if you're a fan already of Colors Live, or you've been looking for this app on Nintendo Switch, some good drawing software. I haven't used it yet myself on Nintendo Switch in particular, but I've toyed around with it elsewhere, and Colors Live is pretty cool. But I think that, like they said, this is going to be their best version yet. So I'm excited to dive in, and before too long, I will put up a follow-up video of what I think of Colors Live and how do I think it compares to their previous entries. Moving on though, we got some cool updates on the Nintendo Store. Also, like I mentioned earlier today, in today's video game news segment, we got a big Mario Direct. Some of that information I discussed live in the Direct. Some of it was in a separate video game talk segment. But I thought I would share a little bit more here because news keeps on coming out, and that is that you are now able to purchase the Splatoon 2 Splatfest Super Mario t-shirt representing Pearl, or the Splatoon 2 Super Mario Splatfest Superstar tee representing Marina. They're $30. You're probably going to pay $5 for shipping. And if you're a Mario fan, if you're a Splatoon fan, if you're a Nintendo fan, if you're a collector, whether you buy the shirts and wear them proudly, which is pretty cool, or if you buy them just for art purposes and throw them up in your closet to never be worn just as a collector, hey, that's also neat. But I wanted to share it because a lot of people thought it was cool, and at the time of recording live, we didn't have the information of how much were the shirts and when could we get them. But here you go. If you're interested, they're available now. Here's a look at the Japanese store's shirts. Also pretty cool. But I have easy access to the North American shop. So these are the two that I'm probably going to get. But honestly, I would probably not mind owning a couple of these. There are 4 people in my family, so I think I could justify getting 4 total. My son's favorite color is yellow. My daughter's favorite color is pink. And I'm sure that my wife and I could decide who wears which one of those. And they come with nice keychains too. But that's enough on that. Next up, changing the mood, is a little bit of footage of Doom Eternal running on the GeForce RTX 3080. This is running in 4K. You're going to be seeing over 100 frames per second. The video itself is 5 minutes long. I'm just going to play a couple of minutes. 3, 2, 1. Prior to this, they're actually showing comparison footage of what this game looked like on the existing card and the new 3080 that's coming out in a couple of weeks. And as you can see, it's running smooth. Up in the top right hand corner, they're showing us that it's running at around 128 frames per second or so. going up even more, getting close to 200 at points, passing 200 briefly at a moment or two. It's a fast game to begin with. It's a crisp game to begin with. You know, I have Doom Eternal for my Xbox One X, and I like the game a lot. I'm also looking forward to the Nintendo Switch version because even though it's going to be at a lower frame rate and at a lower resolution, I was so impressed with how Doom 2016, which for Nintendo Switch ended up being Doom 2017, how it looked on that platform. It was just fine in my opinion, and to be able to play it portably, take it on the go, was a real joy. But that'll be enough, I think, for this footage, because like I said, it is 5 minutes long, and I wanted to definitely give you a little bit of a look, because some people have seen my video on the RTX 3070, 3080, 3090 and the breakdown, but want to see, well, what does it look like visually in a game? I'm sure that next-gen titles that are made specifically to take advantage of it are going to look breathtaking, but here's what it looks like, and here's what it could do on an existing, really good, high-fidelity, visual quality game from this current generation. If you want to check out more, like I said, go to YouTube and check out the GeForce RTX Doom Eternal video, and you will see their world premiere in its entirety, including in the first part of the video, the side-by-side comparison. And finally, we got to talk a little bit about the Super Mario 35th Anniversary Direct. That's why I didn't want to derail too much earlier in today's video, because we already have 2 videos on it, and I was planning on saving a little bit of this talk for the end. But yeah, if you're watching this and you didn't see my other videos and you would like to have more of my thoughts on this Direct, definitely check out my YouTube channel, and you could either watch me watch this 16-minute Direct live and get my initial reactions, my thoughts, and a little bit of discussion afterwards. If you want to have my opinions on the deep dive, the full-on talk, I have a separate video that's 24 or so minutes long where I break down some of the details that weren't announced live in the Direct, such as resolution when it comes to the Mario games, which are 720p handheld, 1080p in TV mode, except for Super Mario 64. That's the only one in the trilogy of the 3D All-Stars package that is in 720p, regardless of what mode you play it on, and so forth. I break down some of the details on how the car works, the race kart for Mario Kart, AR, and it was just exciting. I'm giving you a little bit of a nugget here because it's worthy to talk about in video game news, but since it already has 2 other videos, I won't spend any further time talking about it. But believe me, I could, because that's the highlight of my day right now, is this announcement. What a joy. Overall, pretty cool news day. The biggest part of the news today, in any capacity, in any sense, truly is Nintendo. There's nothing bigger than Super Mario 35th Anniversary Direct. But I try to make my news video itself kind of even, So let me know what you think. Did you like the talk of Street Fighter, and are you looking forward to this? Do you collect vinyl records? Would you rather this be, in iTunes or on disc? What do you think of sales talk? I kept it shorter this time, partially because there's nothing groundbreaking that's truly exciting in this week's sales data report, but also I'm trying to keep this segment a little bit on the softer side, because otherwise I'll talk too long on just numbers, and I know that's not for everybody, but enough of you seemingly are interested in some of it, so I'm keeping it in video game news segments. What do you think of Colors Live? Are you looking forward to checking it out yourself? Do you want me to give you my feedback? Because I will. Are you going to get any of these Nintendo shirts from Nintendo of America or Japan? What do you think of the GeForce RTX 3080 and Doom Eternal? Are you stoked for next gen? Do you think this does enough of a bump up in this gen's high fidelity games that makes it worth buying now? And finally, any thoughts that you have, if you want to talk back and forth, I'm more than happy to. on this Mario Anniversary Direct. All right, that'll do it for me. This is Paul Gale Network signing out. Thank you for joining me for another Video Game News with PGN segment. I appreciate your time. Any likes, comments, subscriptions is greatly appreciated. Thank you all. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Take care. Bye.